I am a giant extrovert. My father is a giant extrovert. His father before him was a huge extrovert. I come from a long line of life of the party, here I am in your face wankers. That's how we operate. And so when it comes to rapport, when it comes to being able to connect with people and build trust and comfort and make people feel welcome and secure and able to follow your lead, that's always come second nature to me. And in sales, that actually can really work against you once you get to the management level. If you do things naturally, if you ever see a really good natural seller, more often than not, they don't normally make great managers. And not exclusively, but what you'll find is when you ask them, hey, how do you do that so well? Their answer, well, I don't know. And so the things that we often do naturally, it's very rare that we can extrapolate the trends and tendencies. But thankfully, obviously getting into consulting and getting into training my brain to really pull the essence out of things, I'm now in a position that I can teach rapport. I can teach anybody how to make friends with anybody, how to build trust, how to build comfort, and how to set the stage for making a great sale. It's really important. Now, rapport came to me at a very early age, the idea of rapport and how important it is and what it actually takes to create it. Because I grew up in Bermuda. It's a tiny little island just above the Caribbean, and it is just a world away from anything else resembling reality. Now, I was one of 4 Caucasian people in my school grade. It was like a piece of salt got in the pepper shaker. I just, and I matched it, and I was definitely I had a bit of a limp to my walk, and I remember I used to wear a chain. I had a chain with a guitar on it, and I wore it every day up until we were at a school dance, and some girl whipped her head and hit the chain, and it went and poked me in the eye, and then I cried and I went home. So I definitely really embellished that life, and in looking back, is super embarrassing and really funny to think about. But the hard part is that when I was 12 years old, we moved from Bermuda to metropolitan America. We went to just beneath Washington, D.C., a place called Falls Church, Virginia, which is about as American as it gets. And I stuck out like a sore thumb. I had nothing in common with anyone else. I just didn't fit in. And for a long time, I didn't have a whole lot of friends. And for someone who is as extroverted as me, and someone as gregarious, and someone who is as social and enjoys company, that was a really tough time for me. And obviously I was very fortunate that I had my family, that I'd be able to build friends. But I realized something really powerful, is people like people who are like them. And I wasn't like other people, ergo, I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't have a lot of people that really counted on me or that I could count on. Now, obviously, as time developed, I wasn't such a shame and a disappointment. I obviously learned how to build friends and create networks and get into positions where I could lead. But it was a really stark lesson, is when people don't understand you, when they can't trust what your intentions are, they can't trust your value set, you're unfamiliar to them. It is very subconscious as human beings that we simply don't want to deal with those people. And so building rapport, it's such a powerful tool because you're immediately finding ways to create an easier interaction. You're lubricating the interaction. So, if somebody likes you, they're drastically more likely to actually hear you out and hear what you have to say. And again, when we talk about that salesman versus coach frame, they're much more likely to buy into the fact that you have their best interests at heart. So when you think about what it takes to actually be friends with people, I immediately think of the movie Step Brothers. If you haven't seen it, I'm really sorry that you haven't seen it. Please pause this course and go watch the movie Step Brothers, starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. One of the all-time funniest movies ever made. But the premise, obviously, you have 2 stepbrothers, both, hapless, live at home with their moms in their 40s, and their parents get together, and all of a sudden they have to, they impinge on their territory. And there's a lot of storming. There's a lot of a phase where they just don't get along, and hey, don't touch my drum set, and all that. And there's some really funny things that happen, but all of a sudden they realize, in one moment, they realize they had enough things in common, and they stop, and they look at each other and go, did we just become best friends? That's literally what friendship is. That's a snapshot of what it takes to actually be friends with people, what it actually takes to get along with people. Your friendships are literally simply designed because your brain, it operates as herds. We're mammals. We operate in tribes and herds. And when we want to find people that we can associate ourselves with, we need, like we know with our brain, we want safety. And safety means predictability. We want to be around people whose behaviors we can predict and whose interests we can align with. That's the whole purpose of having friends. Your brain is literally saying, hey, you're safer in numbers, go find people who think like you think and believe what you believe. It's really, really powerful in understanding what it actually takes to become friends with people. Simply put, people like people who are like them or like how they want to be. That's rapport. And so when we're looking at how we build rapport with customers, we're going to take you through a variety of different ways that you can match customers and get on the same level as them and connect with them so that they know that they can trust you. And in the span of, in some cases, as early as 20 seconds, people will instantly like you, you will instantly have better sales pitches, and you're drastically more likely to close sales. Your brain wants you to associate with people like you. And customers' brains want them to associate with people like them. So if you can be people like them, they're drastically more likely to listen to what you have to say.